Here on The Colour of Country Life, great to be catching up with Liz Habermann. She is the independent candidate for Grey. How are you going, Liz?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
All right, thanks. Now, you must, I'm gathering, been emboldened by how much support you got in your run for Flinders against Sam Telfer. You're kicking on to a federal campaign straight after the March of the state election.
That's it, yeah. No, it's all very exciting and just shows that people over here are ready for change.
Yeah, and what's your case for voting for an independent? What are you saying to the electors about why they need to vote independent rather than largely it's going to be for the Liberal Rowan Ramsey?
Well, we need better representation in Parliament, and that is exactly what I promised to do if elected. As an independent, we don't have to follow the party line. We get to represent the people in the communities, and we're crying out for that because we need better representation, and that's what independents can do. We've got to safeguard our future and get the right policies and make sure that they're in place that will guarantee that.
Now, one of the benefits with Flow, where we broadcast across multiple states, we see what the coalition is throwing at independents because they're pretty hot to trot about, maybe more so the metropolitan ones. I haven't seen anything directly attacking you from Rowan Ramsey, but they say that often independents don't get to present policy on how to balance the budget, and they're not part of the party room and decision-making within Parliament. Why would an independence vote be one that puts Grey on the map?
Well, basically, for starters, we need independence in our parliament, so that our politicians are held to account. We are all well aware of the. We need a federal integrity commission for starters. I think that's one of the most major things that needs to change, and we all know that our major parties won't do that. They've had a chance to do it. And with these things, we need them to work together. They need to have a collaboration approach, and it's people in our communities look up to our politicians for reassurance and support. They're meant to be our leaders, and yet they seem to be fighting amongst themselves. And so we need good, strong independents who can, sort them out. Enough's enough. They've had so much time to get our communities and people show them support and everything, but we just once again forgotten. We're regional, 92% of the state of SA, and so much potential, and yet we've got no one really fighting for us in Parliament.
Liz, yourself, I gather you've only recently become, if I could call it, a political animal, whereas some people have been engaged in politics and run as candidates a number of times. You've had 2 runs in 3 months. What's your background? Where do you come from within the electorate of Grey, where you live, and what have you been doing in the community? Yeah,
so we've got the bakery in Woodland, and being a small business owner, I know exactly how tough that can be, and learning the running of business. We didn't have a business background before we took that on 15 years ago. We've made Woodland our home. I'm a councillor. I'm on leave at the moment, but...
Oh, sorry, you mean on the local council? Is that what you're talking about?
Local council,
yep.
Yeah, sorry, yep. And that was sort of probably before that, so this is my first term, and before that I admit I wasn't really that into politics, but then I got asked to sit on that soon after my son passed away, and I just sort of felt, I needed to give back more. And with the story with my son that I think a lot of people are aware of, that I was involved with the voluntary assisted dying bill being passed in our parliament, and knowing that, I've helped make change for so many people that many people have told me and continue to tell me how important that legislation has been. That felt good to be part of something big that, while it will affect only sort of a minority group, it is so important. So that sort of planted the seed, and I've continued from there. And when I got asked if possibly I would think of running, well, initially it was Grey, and then I moved to Flinders. But yeah, just even thinking politics, I've learnt so much in the last 6 to 8 months. very, very steep learning curve, but it just makes me realise even more how much we need independent representation in our parliament.
Who's been asking you to run? Who's been saying, I think you should have a crack at Grey?
So initially that was where I was going to go, but then when Rex, Patrick and Nick Xenophon weren't sure what they were going to do. So this started back in July, I think, last year. And I then got asked by Mari Shaw, who's a QC in Adelaide. She'd come back to Lock for a community meeting and saw just how Lock was dying, basically. And it broke her heart. So she then went on to find me. And the sort of rest will be history. But I think the support that people of Flinders showed me, that was meeting incredible people. When I wasn't successful with getting up in Flinders, I was trying to, once I recovered, I really had to do a bit of soul search and just think, is this what I need to be doing? Because it's so taxing and it takes so much out of you. But it was the people that were then ringing and begging me to run for Grey because we need this representation. And I think, I need to do it for the people. So if I have the success that I had in Flinders, but just can get over the line, we've got such a, we've got future to look forward to, and we need, there's so much potential in Grey, and yet it's just sort of just sitting there and no one's fighting for us. And I feel so strongly that I need to do this because people are crying out for it. We matter, and we need someone to fight for the people, not for a party.
Someone who was very emotional immediately post-election was Jeff Brock, who had a rampant win in the seat of Stewart in the state election, which overlaps into Grey. Have you been in touch with Jeff, or are you working with him in this campaign?
Absolutely. He's endorsed my candidacy. He's been fantastic and a good support. Bounce things off of him and just sort of, it just shows how powerful an independent can be. You actually get things done for your electorate because you're not, having to toe the party line. It's just you are working for the people, and only the people. You're accountable to them. That's who you work for. Is
there a headline sort of policy you're promoting for the electorate of Grey? You talk about the potential of Grey. Is there something you think would really activate that potential?
I think with the issues with climate change that our government seems to ignore, basically. So climate, that's a big one for me, and also that, I'll be demanding if I'm fortunate to be elected, a Federal Integrity Commission, because that's absolutely overdue, and I don't understand why that should have been done many, many years ago. But so between that and climate change, there's certainly telecommunications and regional health, like our aged care and the lack of doctors, and so many things that should not even be an issue. It's 2022, and we're fighting for things that are just a right. And that's what I will be doing. It's time that we had this representation, and I believe that's me.
All right, Liz, thanks very much for your time today. I appreciate you've stopped in a place where there is a mobile phone coverage. Certainly telecommunications a hot one across the electorate of Grey. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you again soon.
Thanks, Vicky. Take care.